Okay, this is page 89, and this is the independent practice for lesson 4.2, dividing fractions. Watch this video as much or as little as you need to get the help that you need, but of course make sure you check your answers. Okay, number 8. Allison has 1/2 cup of yogurt for making fruit parfaits. Each parfait requires 1/8 cup of yogurt. How many parfaits can she make? So it's important with dividing that you get the numbers in the correct order. And so you need to read each question carefully. And in this one, we know that she has a total of 1/2 cup of yogurt and that she's going to make several parfaits. And so she needs to divide that 1/2 cup into 1/8 size servings. So the correct order for this is 1/2 divided by 1/8. Now once you get it in the right order, then it's pretty simple to remember your steps. Do you remember on the previous page, when it asks how do you divide fractions, we wrote multiply by the reciprocal. So what we're going to do here is we're going to, instead of dividing, we're going to multiply. And we always find the reciprocal of the second fraction, which is 8/1. Now I have 1 times 8 is 8, and 2 times 1 is 2, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. So the answer is 4, but it's a word problem, and you always have to answer word problems in words. We don't have room for a complete sentence, but we at least have to answer the question. And so we reread the question to look at for what. It says how many parfaits can she make? She can make 4 parfaits. So for the rest of this page, make sure every answer you have includes a word. All right, number 9. A team of runners is needed to run a 4th mile relay race. If each runner must run a 1/16 of a mile, how many runners will be needed? So we take the total distance it needs to get run, that's a 1/4, and we divide it by the length that each runner needs to run, which is a 1/16. And this looks complicated, but if we do this right here, multiply the reciprocal, it's really pretty simple. So instead of dividing, we multiply, and instead of 1/16, we use the reciprocal, which is 16/1. And we simply get 1 times 16 is 16, and 4 times 1 is 4. We get 16/4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. For what? For how many runners will be needed? We'll need 4 runners. Okay, number 10. I think we can do one more problem here without scrolling the page. Number 10. Trevor paints 1/6 of the fence surrounding his farm each day. How many days will it take him to paint 3/4 of the fence? So this is the first one where they gave you the information out of order. He's painting a 1/6, that's just a little bit, each day. The total is 3/4. To do 3/4 of the fence divided by 1/6. So to set number 10 up correctly, you take the total, 3/4, and divide it by the part, which is a 6. This is the part that he's painting each day. So this is the first one. In numbers 8 and 9, they gave you the numbers in the correct order. 1/2 divided by 1/8, a 1/4 divided by a 1/16. In number 10, they gave it to you backwards. So if you tried to do 1/6 divided by 3/4, it wouldn't make a lot of sense. The answer wouldn't make a lot of sense. In fact, I might even do it wrong. I'm going to do it correctly and then do it wrong and show you how it wouldn't make sense. Anyway, we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. And we're going to get 3 times 6 is 18. I think I'll simplify first, actually. 4 and 6 are each divisible by 2, so I'll divide. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 6 and 4 simplify to 3 and 2. And now I get 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 1 is 2. And 9/2 is equal to 9 divided by 2 is 4. With 1 left over, you get 4.5. Reread the question. How many days will it take him to paint the fence? 4.5 days. That's a little bit messy, so I'll rewrite that. That's 4.5 days. Now, I'm not going to do this every time, but let's pretend I set this up backwards. Let's pretend for some reason that you thought that you're always just supposed to take the first number and divide by the second number. And I'm going to go ahead and put the word incorrect here. I'm going to do it in red. I want to be real clear that you're not watching this thinking that I'm doing this right. So let's pretend you thought you're supposed to do the first number divided by the second number. So 1/6 divided by 3/4. And I multiply the reciprocal, and I get 4/3. And then I could simplify my 4 and my 6. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. You end up 2 over 9. 1 times 2 is 2. This is supposed to be a 3 here. 3 times 3 is 9. 2 ninths. 2 ninths of a day. Does 2 ninths of a day make sense? 2 ninths of a day. Does that answer make sense? It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. So the whole point is this. If you ever set it up backwards, you're going to get an answer that doesn't make sense, and then you need to notice that. All right, let's go ahead and move on. Numbers 11 and 12 we'll do right here. Number 11 reads, 6 people share 3/5 of a pound of peanuts equally. What fraction of a pound does each person receive? So we've got some peanuts being divided by people, and one conclusion you may have drawn from other problems is that the people would be the second term. It's always going to be the item, like the peanuts, that gets divided by the people. So it's going to be 3/5 divided by 6. Six is the same as 6 over 1. And then we do our multiply the reciprocal. So then it's going to actually be the reciprocal of 6 over 1, which is 1 over 6. And then I've got 1 times 3 is 3. And 5 times 6 is 30. And 3 and 30 share a factor of 3, so if I divide by 3, I get 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 30 divided by 3 is 10. I get a tenth. A tenth of a pound of peanuts. And that should make sense because you didn't start with really that. Look at the amount of peanuts you started with. You started with 3/5 of a pound. That's not really that much. And then dividing that by 6 people means that everyone gets a tenth of a pound. It's not really all that much. So that is the correct answer. Might seem a little bit weird, but it is. All right, number 12. If one honeybee makes 1/12 teaspoon of honey during its lifetime, how many honeybees are needed to make 1/2 teaspoon of honey? So the total amount we would have would be a half, and that's being divided by the amount that each honeybee can make, which is a 1/12. So this is another one where they gave you the information backwards, and you have to read that carefully and invert it and set it up correctly. So I've got my rule of multiply by the reciprocal. So this is 12 over 1. And I've got 1 times 12 is 12. And 2 times 1 is 2. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. The question was, how many honeybees? So the answer is 6 honeybees. Okay, let's move on. Number 13 reads, Jackson wants to divide 3/4 pound of box of trail mix into small bags. Each of the bags will hold 12 pound of trail mix. How many bags of trail mix can Jackson fill? So we're going to take 3/4. We're going to divide that by 1/12. Dividing fractions is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. And I could multiply this, but I think it might be a little bit better to just simplify first the 4 and the 12. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. I've got 3 times 3 over 1 times 1. 3 times 3 is 9. Answer is 9 bags. Number 14. A pitcher contains 2/3 quart of lemonades. If an equal amount of lemonade is poured into each of 6 glasses, how much lemonade will each glass contain? So we're going to take a quart of lemonade. 2/3 of a quart of lemonade. We're going to divide that by 6 glasses. That's the same as dividing by 6 over 1. Then that's the same as multiplying by its reciprocal of 1 over 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 6 is 18. 2 and 18 share a factor of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 18 divided by 2 is 9. It's a ninth. How much lemonade will be in each glass? 1/9 of a quart. 1/9 of a quart. Number 15. 15 reads, how many tenths are there in 4/5? That means 4/5 divided by a tenth. This word right here, that word right there is this right here. This is tenths. So I'm going to do the same thing I did on all the other problems. I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal. I could multiply. 4 times 10 is 40, and 5 times 1 is 5, or I could have simplified. Either way, I'll simplify now. 40 divided by 5 is 8. How many tenths are there in 4/5? 8. And if you want to put a word here, you can put the word tenths. 8 tenths. Okay, last one. This last one's multi-step. Kind of tricky, but we'll figure it out. Number 16 says, you make a large bowl of salad to share with your friends. Your brother eats 1/3 of it before they come over. So even before you read question A, you should probably get a picture in your brain. Here's our salad, and your brother ate 1/3 of it. So how much do you have left? Well, here's 1/3 and here's 1/3. How much do you have left? You have 2/3 left. So right off the bat, you should think about that. You have 2/3 left because your brother ate 1/3 of it. Question A says you want to divide the leftover salad evenly among 6 friends. So how much do you have? We just decided you have 2/3. And then it says you want to divide that by 6 people. We talked earlier how people is going to be the second term. So we're going to take the salad divided by 6 people. What expression describes the situation? Explain. It doesn't actually ask you to solve. It says what expression describes the situation. The expression is 2/3 divided by 6. It says explain. We should probably say your brother ate 1/3. So you have 2/3 left divided by 6 friends, or divided by 6 people. So the first question just asks you to describe the situation, which we did. And then the second question says, what fractional portion of the original bowl of salad does each friend receive? That's the answer. So we need to go finish our problem here. 2/3 divided by 6 is the same thing as 2/3 divided by 6/1. Then I multiply by the reciprocal of 1/6. And I get 1 times 2 is 2. And 3 times 6 is 18. I get 2/18. We've done this one before on this page. 2/18. 2 and 18 share a factor of 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. You get 1/9. Each friend receives 1/9 of, what's our salad? You make a large bowl of salad. Yeah, 1/9 of the bowl. We could say 1/9 of the salad would be fine too. Cool. You are done with page 89. Great job.